Perfect. So now we have covered basics or basics of NetSuite. How do you navigate and all that. Now
Yes.
coming to the part, the actual course content is first thing is SuiteScript. So let's say what is SuiteScript. First thing. So SuiteScript is a scripting language which is based on JavaScript, but it is created on top of that, and then used being designed or designed in such a way that you have certain APIs available. You use those APIs and then build your own logic. So this is
Okay.
called SuiteScript, right? This is not JavaScript. This is NetSuite's own scripting language called SuiteScript. Now, SuiteScript has three different versions as of now. So you have 1.0, 2.0, and 2.1 is recently released. So these are three different versions. What we are going to focus as part of this course is 2.0 primarily. And because 1.0 is anyways going to end in some time. But on time to time, I'll give you some pointers like what is the difference, how do you use that in 1.0. Let's say if you're writing a piece of code, if you want to understand how do you do it in 1.0, I'll talk about that definitely. Okay.
Okay.
So this is SuiteScript, right? And then SuiteScript is primarily categorized into two things. One is client-side script, and second is server-side scripts, right? So client-side scripts are the ones, as the name itself specifies, right? These are the ones which will execute on the client side or the browser level, right? So if you as a user working on a form or working on a record, and when you have deployed a client script, it will trigger on your browser level, and it will show you, it will perform all the logic, it will perform all that validation on the browser level itself. And then you have
Okay.
server-side scripts. These are the type of scripts which actually executes or triggers on the server side. When
Okay.
the request goes to the server, that's when the entire execution happens.
Okay.
Okay. So client-side script, and it's only one script, which is client script. And on the server side, we have the different category of scripts. You have user event script, you have streetlet, scheduled, restlet, whatever we're going to talk about, right? Primarily.
So,
And then second thing, once you deploy it here, right? See, let's say client script, right? So if you see here, the type itself shows a client. So you remember when we select a script name and then try to create a script record, like try to create this record, and so it itself identifies what type it is, right?
yes, yes.
That is because it identifies based on the functions you have defined in the script. So these are all the functions which are there in client script.
Okay, okay. Page init save record
Right?
validation field. Yes, okay.
And in this script, what you are using is this page init only. That also it identifies as soon as you create this record, because
Okay.
in the script definition, if you see here, we have only used page init here,
Yes, yes, yes.
right? And at the end we have mapped it to page init function. So we are only using page init. So as soon as you create or upload this script and try to create the script record, Netsuite identifies what function are being used, what script type it is, what API version it is, and based on that you will see. Now,
Yes.
if you want to see what all scripts are there in Netsuite, it has all this type segregation also. So you can see all these, by clicking on any category, you can see what script, like what all streetlets are there. Like if you see these are all the streetlets which are there in already in instance. Then you have different API versions also. So I'm showing only 2.0 right now.
Okay.
And then if there are anything created from bundle or directly, so let's say if I say none, which means these are the ones which are created directly or not through a bundle, right? And then you can, by clicking on deployment, you can go to the deployment record also.
Okay.
Okay. This is how you will segregate. But as a W, write a piece of code, obviously you will understand, because every script has a different syntax and different functions. And every script type has their own usage. It's not like you can You can use, I mean, any problem you can solve through multiple solutions. I understand, but there'll be one optimal solution, right? One optimized solution where you need to reuse the right script. For example, if you have to do mass or a huge data update, right? If there's a high volume of records, and then you have to perform some activity on that, those number of records, then you'll go with schedule script or map reduce script, for example, right? So that's how you segregate, or that's how you utilize different scripts based on your business needs and based on the problem statement. And every script has their own functionality and their own usage. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, like it means how to identify the, it means like you said that, so from upload that a lot of records for you use for scheduled script, right? So for the client script, if you suppose if anyone gives any no task, anything, so how to identify the, okay, this will be useful for the client. Okay.
Now that as a developer is your responsibility. What script type you will see. I'm talking about a real time scenario. Let's say you get a problem statement, or you get a task. Basically, you get a problem statement. Let's say you have to do this activity. Now, as a developer, it's your responsibility to identify which script and which function will be the right function or right script to use in this particular problem. Okay. Now I know this is being your first session. I mean, this is a little overwhelming. I know that, but you will understand. That is my task for you that is my task for you. To make you understand this. Obviously, by the end of this course, you will be confident and clear enough that you understand the differences. You understand. And do you understand what script is used in which scenarios and all that, right? So that's my task. Obviously, that's the course about. So you don't worry. Yeah, but honestly speaking, when you understand this thing, that which script to use, what function to use, and what will be the right solution for this, or best solution for this, once you understand that, you are done. Like that's it. Writing a piece of code is not something which will be tricky. I understand. Initially, it will be challenging because you have limited knowledge, and you will eventually explore all the all the APIs, all the types, and everything. Obviously, it will be there's a learning curve with everybody, right? So you learn, and then you'll be confident in writing a script. But when you get a problem statement and there's nobody to tell you, there's nobody to tell you what script to use and all that, then based on your understanding, if you have to make a decision and then come up with a solution, that's the part where it is most challenging, right? You have to understand the problem, come up with the best solution, make sure your existing system is not hampered. So there are two cases, right? If you're working on an implementation project, that's a fresh system. You have little bit luxury to mess around with that, right? When I say mess around, like if you make a mistake, there is still an option because that system is not live in production already. But if you're working on an existing system, let's say if you're working on an enhancement on top of an existing system, that's when there is a risk. If you develop something new, if you deploy it in production, it should not hamper your existing production functionality. Correct? So that is where you have to be clear enough to choose the right solution, to build the right solution, and then make sure that your existing system is not hampered. Now, let's say on the help portal, first thing, okay. So you have certain libraries. You can create your own libraries also, right? And then under libraries, you have some sort of functions which are predefined, and you can utilize them. That's any programming. Yeah, that's standard for any programming language, right? So similarly, in NetSuite also, you have different libraries available. This is called as module. In NetSuite world, we call it module. Now, there are different modules available to perform some activities, and under each module, there are different APIs available. Okay? Yeah. This is the entire SuiteScript, honestly speaking. There are tons of modules, and every module has different APIs available. And this is all you have to use when you write a SuiteScript. Let's say if you need to create a record, you have record module. Under record module, you have record.create API that is used to create a record. Correct?
Okay.
If you want to save a record, under the same module, you have record.save API, and you have to use that API to save a record. Understood?
Yes.
So let's say, the module names are generally n/record. That is how Netsuite module names are defined.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have this n/record, right? Now under this module, you will have different. Let's say if I go to the module tab itself. So you see under modules, these are the number of modules which are available in Netsuite, right?
Okay.
You get it? So
Yes,
every module has different functionality.
So it's all
Let's say record module is used for record creation, deletion, save, insert, submit field, update field, anything, right?
Yes.
Then you have, let's say runtime. Runtime is to get all the runtime related information, like user information, role information, when you're running a script. Then you have search modules to define any searches. Like if you want to build a search within a script to perform some task, you have to use a lookup field API and all that. That's when you use a search module. Then similarly, you have SFTP module. If you're using an SFTP, like if you are creating an SFTP connection, to create a connection, to upload a file, to save, to disconnect, create connection, all that you use SFTP module.
Okay.
Then you have task module. If you want to create any task in the script, task can be any task. Like if you want to perform, let's say if you want to do a CSV import within a script, so that will be used. That will be done using a task module. Basically, you're creating a task. Task is nothing but to perform CSV import, right?
Yes.
Similarly, you have UI server widget. This is to create a form. If you want to create your own custom form using a script, that is this is the module you use. Then you have XML information, XML related function APIs under XML module. Then you have file related all the APIs under file module. If you want to create a file, you want to upload it in a particular folder. If you want to download an existing file, all that, right? Then you have email module. If you want to send an email, then you use the email module. If you want to do something with the currency, then you have currency module. So like that, there are all these modules available. And under every module, you have different APIs. Clear?
Okay. Yeah, clear.
So let's say n/record module API. n/record module. Then you have n/record module members, right? See, these are all the objects, and then methods are nothing but APIs. Okay. So you have record.attach, you have record.copy, you have record.create, you have record.delete, you have record.detach, record.load, record.submit fields, record.transform. Transform is in when you want to transform one record into another record. Let's say you want to transform a sales order into invoice. Okay. That is transform API. Transform a record from one type to another type. That is why you use transform API. Okay. Then you have all these methods available. Understood? So similarly, like this is your record module. Now you understood about modules and APIs now, right? Any questions?
No. Just clear about it.
Right. So initially, when you start working on SuiteScript, right, you will not remember every single module and API, right? So you go to help portal and look for the right module and API here, and then you get the entire syntax. So let's say if I click on record dot, let's say create, right? Record.create. It will show you all the information, like what all parameters, okay, what are the general error you get, and then you have a code snippet.
Okay.
So this is how you use record.create. Record.create has three parameters. You have type, you have is dynamic, and then you have default values if you are providing any. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can come to any API and look for the syntax, and then you can utilize accordingly in your script. So initially, Obviously, you will not remember any of these APIs and their syntax. So you can come to help portal, you can look for it,
So we can
and
search
then
it. Yes.
yeah, correct.
Yes,
But
yes, understood.
eventually, when you start working on it, you will easily remember things like basic APIs like record.create or get value and all that. You will easily remember because you're using it continuously, right?
Yeah.
But if there's something new, obviously you can come here and look for it.
Okay.
Okay. So this is this is all about your SuiteScript API. How do you use help portal for SuiteScript API?
Okay.
Your scripting information and templates, everything is available here, right? Now,
Yes.
one last thing I'm going to cover, and then we're going to end this session here. Okay, is governance.
Okay.
Okay, so what governance is? Now, to build this entire thing, and since you understand Netsuite is in cloud and there is there's a space constraint and everything and execution limitation, to build it in an optimized way, like if you are working on script and to use it in an optimized way, okay, Netsuite has come up with this concept of governance. So every API function or every API you use will have their own governance usage. So governance, consider it as a, consider it as a limit users sort of a thing. Like um, you remember with the space allocation concept, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Correct? In any programming language, like space
Yeah.
allocation.
Okay. Fine.
Consider
Fine.
governance as that. Like, let's say API, if you use record.create API, it's going to consume 20 units from your space, for example.
Okay.
Okay, like consider it that way. That is called governance in Netsuite
Okay.
concept.
Fine.
So every API you use has a governance usage. Like record.create has 20. Record.submit field also has 20. So if you go to any API here, it will show you governance uses also. See, so governance, sorry, record.create has 10. So on the governance, transaction is 10 units. If you are creating a custom record, it is 22 units. Any other record type, it is 5 units. Okay. So let's say 10 units. If you're creating a sales order, for example. So if you're creating a sales order 10 units and then you save it, save also has 20 units. Now consider a scenario. What you need to do, you need
So
to.
we can. The governance is yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, nothing. The governance like the limits. So if we record the 10 units, so we
No,
cannot.
it's not a limit. It's a uses information. Let's say, hypothetically, I'm saying, let's say you have 500 units with you.
Okay.
I'm talking in a very layman's term. Okay, let's say you have 500 units with you. Now, if you use record.create, it's going to take 10 units from it. So now you have 490 left. Correct. So this is nothing but you can consider it as space allocation or space memory allocation or anything for that matter. I'm just putting it or relating it to your basic, software fundamentals. So if you use record.create, it's going to consume 10 units. It's a consumption.
Yeah. Okay.
Still clear or?
Yes, it's clear.
No. If you have any questions, you can ask 10 times. That's okay. But unless I'm with my next part, you will understand. I'll tell you.
Okay.
So let's say the record.create will consume 10 units. Record.save will consume 20 units. So every API you use has a governance limit defined. There are certain APIs which does not use anything. There are APIs like that also. Okay.
Okay.
Now, then second thing which comes into picture is governance limit. Now, every script you use, okay, in Netsuite has a limit defined. Clear? So every script, let's say if I use user event script has a governance limit of 1,000 units. So if you are using a Netsuite user event script and your entire logic, and if there's a loop also, right? Let's say if you're using a user event script and then you have a loop also inside, and then inside loop you have, let's say, 15 records or 20 records or 100 records for that matter. So this entire execution of one run, like you run that record, it goes through the loop, performs all the action on all the records, and then comes to an end. This entire execution should happen within 1,000 units.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the
It
user
goes
script
beyond
1000 only.
for user event script, right? So if it goes
Okay.
beyond 1000, then it will your script execution will end there. You'll get an error that exceeds the governance, exceeds the it exceeds the user's limit defined, and then your script execution will end there. Now the
Okay.
entire reason is to the entire concept behind this governance logic is to make any custom solution optimized, right? If there is no, think about it, like if there is no governance logic, if there is no limitation, you write any script, you don't care about optimization, you don't care about performance, you don't care about anything, right? I'm
Yes.
saying
Yes.
if there's no limit, you can write anything, right? And then it will keep on executing and the performance will be impacted. Obviously at the end it is all about performance, right? That is the reason this governance concept is introduced. Every single API you use has a usage limit, and every script you write has a limit defined. So you have to use your APIs and your logic in an optimized way so that you don't go beyond that limit. Now here comes the challenge, right? Let's say you have to do uh, a lot of data changes, or you have to do a lot of update in multiple records. Let's say you have 1,000 records, and you have to do data update or any update in 1,000 records. And user event has only 1,000 units, right? You can't use user event in that case, right? In this case, we will go for a script which has higher governance limit. Let's say schedule script. Schedule script has 10,000 units. We'll go for schedule script in 10,000 units in this case, because you already know your data volume is high.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
This is one scenario where you understand what script type to use based on the complexity of the problem, or based on the data volume. I'm just giving an example. Obviously, when we talk about every single script type, you will understand. Don't worry. Don't get too confused. But I'm just giving you an example. So this is what governance, usage, and limit is. And any questions about governance?
Okay, fine. No. Okay. It's good.
This is just a number. Don't worry about it. Don't worry too much about it. You just have to make sure that you don't go beyond that number when you write a script. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we covered about governance, scripted practices, SuiteScript, governance limit for all scripts. I mean, I'll when we cover every script type, I'll tell you what is the governance limit for every script. But for example, you know that user event has 1,000, right?
Yes. Yes. For user event 1000. Yeah.
1,000. Yeah. So every script type we'll understand. We'll talk about every script type separately.